Hey everyone, Ian Chow here, back again with a non-car video for comics. So this is New Mutants, and it's just labeled number one for whatever reason, by classics. Chris Claremont, Bill Sienkiewicz, not a classic, but we'll see, pretty darn good. Chris Sotomayor. This is War Children. So this came out this year, maybe 2 months ago, September, August of 2019. And this brings back a classic lineup. Chris Claremont is obviously the classic, the OG of the X-Men universe. He's the one who brought them up through their good years. And then Bill Sienkiewicz. Now, Bill Sienkiewicz is famous for having drawn the New Mutants before. I think it was like 83, 84, or 85, 86. I'm not quite sure. But he did, I think, issues like 18 to 30 something, and then like 35 to 40 something. These are a lot of the classic years, a lot of the classic characters. It's kind of weird because I believe Chris Claremont is under contract from Marvel, so he should be. You would think that they would have a master writing more issues of whatever, but no, they don't have him doing anything. So it's weird that we get exactly what we want. We get the writers from the 80s when they were in the high time, not the 90s. 90s are better than now, but they weren't that great, to be honest. And then at the time, it would have been Glynis Oliver doing the colors, but they have Chris Sotomayor. I'm not all that familiar with him, but as we'll see, great looking stuff. Just a quick rundown of the cast. We have Cannonball, Doug Ramsey, Cypher, who has been dead for a long time, but then they brought him back somehow. Robert Acosta. We got Ileana Rasputin, or Magic. Danny Moonstar. We have Magma and Wolfsbane. And then of course Warlock. And this is Warlock's father, the Magnus. So one of the complaints about modern comics, some would call them SJW comics, is that there's really no conflict because the heroes are all overpowered. They're all Mary Sues or Marty Sues. I don't know if there's a name for the male version, but what we have is this is a throwback to where every character has some flaw, every character has something they need to overcome, and in this 32-page book, we're going to see it happen. So it starts off very common at the X Mansion, but we got Warlock. He's by himself, kind of freaking out. Now, I have to say, this is great. This is really non-traditional art. Almost reminds me more of Dale McKean, who did a lot of work on Sandman, a lot of children's books with Neil Gaiman. But so we established them all. The review's coming. It's terrible. So let's go on. So Warlock is missing. Part of the house is destroyed. Everyone's like, nah, it's cool. Don't worry about it. This takes place at a time, they must be setting it just after the classic R. Adams annual, where they were in Asgard, because Danny has, I think the name was Brightwind, but she had become a Valkyrie already. So we see the New Mutants. Oh, and Kitty Pryde, the old Kitty Pryde, the good Kitty Pryde, back before she was Kate. But let's skip a few pages here. So Warlock is trying to scare all of them off. He knows he has to fight his father, the Magnus, and he believes his friends will all die. So we have him attacking various demons. We got magma. Just incredible art. I love the colors. It's non-traditional coloring, but it really works well with the paper. They use more. Most comics are doing sort of a weird blue and like red things these days, but with the very sketchy drawing and inking, these more primary colors, excellent. Okay, so Magic loses herself. Her big thing was she grew up kind of in hell, and a demon took part of her soul, or swallowed it, or she lost it, whatever you want to say, and she's always afraid that she'll lose control and become the Dark Child. Okay, and then you have Xian, who's there too. Let's see here, and even the characterization is great. It's something that you don't really see much in the modern comics. Like they're just so boring. Look at the way he writes her here. Um, they can't touch the techno-organic plants, or they'll get turned. Ronnie or Rain? I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. I'm not Irish. Sorry. Your feet, you're infected. Then it'd be daft, Doug. That only happens if the tendrils touch bare skin. Our uniforms are like armor, they'll protect us. What, did you think I ran around Starkers in wolf form? Shame on you, rude boy. So she grew up in a very conservative Christian household and would definitely not be up for nude, uh, potentially immoral things. But just this whole interaction, you see her personality. Shame on you, rude boy. She's letting him know. So here you have the great friendship between Doug and Warlock. Now, Doug's big fear was he was just a dude who speaks a lot of language. He was recruited by Professor X because they needed someone at the time who could speak a bunch of different languages. And he hung out with the New Mutants, but he didn't really have any powers to fight, which eventually does end up getting him killed. But he's always very friendly with Warlock, and he's willing to sacrifice part of his own life to help Warlock, who occasionally needs to absorb the energy of living things. So then we have Magic. Skip a few pages. Crazy, almost surrealist art. And this is just a work of art. Most of my books I end up giving away, but I'm definitely keeping this one. The story is a simple story. They go to help their friends. They each have to face their own fear, their own demons. During this, Danny Moonstar, she became a Valkyrie, so that means she's really indebted to Hela, Queen of the Dead. And, unfortunately it ends here. I would love to see a series of these guys again, but it will never happen. So you have people who love these characters. Bill Sienkiewicz, he clearly loves drawing them. You have Chris Claremont, who knows these characters intimately, and he writes them as such. Even in the last little bit, right? They're still teenagers here. Hate to ruin the mood, folks. What do we tell the professor? Team Nightmare? That might work. You have Sunspot. Blame the dragon. In your dreams, DaCosta. What do you guys think? definitely miss these guys. If this were a modern day book, it would just be like some people say rude things to them, possibly racist things to them, and then they get in a fight but really face no challenge. Here, they're all facing their own inner demons in order to help their buddy Warlock, who has his his outer demon really. He has to fight and kill his father, which he doesn't want to do. He's a lover, not a fighter. So, New Mutants, War Children, is this something you guys like? How much would you guys be willing to pay to see Chris Claremont write this as an ongoing series? So, just a quick video. If you guys like it, give it a thumbs up. I'd definitely like to hear what you think down in the comments, and please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. I'll see you guys again soon.